Think of a time you were sure you were right. You saw the facts. The logic worked. You looked at the people disagreeing with you. You did not think they were making a mistake. You thought their egos or emotions were getting in the way of the truth. And if you consider yourself a highly intelligent person, you probably assumed they were blind. You, on the other hand, were looking at reality. This is where the trap begins. Your bias does not feel like bias. It feels like clarity. Psychologists call it the bias blind spot. It means people notice how others are influenced by ideology or self-interest. Yet these same people view their own judgments as objective. We look outward and see a world of irrational people. When we look inward, we see reason. You can be educated about cognitive biases. You can read books about logical fallacies. Yet you can still remain blind to your own self-deception the moment it happens. You can analyze data for a living. You can spend years studying human behavior. None of this prevents the bias blind spot from operating. The mechanism works in the background. It hides your cognitive steps from your conscious mind. When you evaluate an opponent, you see their motivations. You see their background, their incentives, and their social circles. You use these factors to explain why they think the way they do. When you evaluate your own thoughts, you do not look at your background. You look at the problem. You feel you have a direct line to the facts. This asymmetry creates a wall. It makes dialogue fail. You are not disagreeing on facts. You are disagreeing on who is capable of perceiving facts. We believe if someone is smart, they will see past these mental illusions. But what if being intelligent does not make you less biased? What if it gives your bias a better vocabulary? A highly intelligent person can possess the brain power to solve abstract problems, yet they might remain oblivious to their defensive thinking. Researchers have found that a larger blind spot is associated with higher cognitive ability. Intelligence can help you navigate a maze, but it does not help you notice when you are building the walls. Research also demonstrates that the bias blind spot operates independently of intelligence. It doesn't care about your cognitive ability or personality traits. There's also something unsettling about people with a high bias blind spot. These individuals are more likely to dismiss advice. They are less responsive to training meant to improve their judgment. Think about it from their perspective. Why would you listen to advice if you are convinced the flaw lies in everyone else's thinking? The smarter you are, the more sophisticated the reasons you'll come up with, and you'll use them to ignore the person trying to warn you. You'll use your brain to explain why their advice is flawed. Smart people are good at arguing, but arguing is not the same thing as truth-seeking. Intelligence is a tool. It helps you defend a position. It offers no guarantee that the position deserves defending. This dynamic is known in psychology as my-side bias. It is our tendency to evaluate evidence in ways that favor our pre-existing opinions. My-side bias has almost no relationship to intelligence. The mind operates like a lawyer, not a judge. A judge looks at the evidence before deciding on a verdict. A lawyer starts with the verdict and looks for evidence to support it. My-side bias makes us act like lawyers for our beliefs. You give a person a logic puzzle. They solve it. You give them a logic puzzle that challenges their political beliefs. They fail. The brain power is there. The willingness to use it objectively disappears. We reserve our skepticism for things we dislike. We give a pass to things we want to believe. This selective skepticism is the engine of my-side bias. We think our beliefs are the result of analysis. The reality of human cognition is different. Psychologist Ziva Kunda explored this in her work on motivated reasoning. She showed that the human mind searches for the conclusion it wants to find. Kunda distinguished between two mental states. First, there are accuracy goals, where an individual seeks the objective truth. Second, there are directional goals, where the individual is motivated to prove a preferred conclusion. Directional goals change how memory works. When you want to prove a point, your brain scans your past experiences. It retrieves memories that match your goal. If you want to believe a friend is loyal, your brain retrieves memories of their kindness. If you want to believe they are untrustworthy, your brain retrieves memories of their mistakes. Both sets of memories are real. The selection process is biased. When a highly intelligent person engages in motivated reasoning, it does not feel dishonest. It feels like making a case. They scan their memory and knowledge for evidence that supports the conclusion they desire. Intelligence gives you a larger database of memories and facts to draw from. A person with a larger database can build a stronger argument. They string together historical precedents and scientific studies. The argument looks objective, but it's built on a foundation of desire. Motivated reasoning is not the absence of logic. It is logic hired by desire. Smart people are not better at changing their minds. They are better at defending the mind they have. Now, you might assume the cure is more data. You might think we need to show the biased person the facts. Their intellect will process the truth and correct the error. But evidence doesn't enter their minds neutrally. This is more true when identity is involved. Our brains do not process threatening information the way they process boring information. Psychologists have demonstrated a phenomenon called biased assimilation. They gathered people with opposing views on capital punishment. They presented them with the same mixed scientific evidence. You would hope the two sides might converge on a middle ground. Rather than finding compromise, the participants polarized further. Supporters and opponents each found the data supporting their side convincing. They critiqued the evidence that challenged their stance. The psychologists saw this clearly. They realized that providing facts is not a solution for disagreement. When you hand a study to someone, their brain processes it through a filter. If the study supports them, they accept the methodology. They assume the researchers were competent. If the study challenges them, they attack the methodology. They question the sample size. They look for funding biases. They apply scientific standards selectively. Two people can read the same scientific study. They can both walk away feeling certain they were right all along. When a belief is intertwined with how you see yourself, contradictory evidence ceases to be a teacher. It becomes a courtroom battle. You do not ask what you can learn from this information. You ask what the flaw is in this data. You interrogate the opposing evidence while giving your evidence a pass. People don't only protect their beliefs. They protect their identities. They protect their understanding of who they are in the world. We align our beliefs with our social groups. If being a skeptic is part of your group identity, you use your intelligence to remain a skeptic. Your brain calculates the social cost of changing your mind. If the cost is high, your brain rejects the evidence. It preserves your social standing. It sacrifices accuracy for belonging. If a person builds their self-image around being rational, things get dangerous. If their identity is tied to being the logical one in the room, being proven wrong is terrible. It is no longer an intellectual update. It becomes a threat. It threatens their concept of self. When evidence threatens that self-concept, intelligence transforms into a defense system. The person may not ask what is true anymore. They may ask how they can remain the kind of person they believe they are. The bias that protects your identity while pretending to protect the truth is the hardest to see. It wears the mask of objectivity while doing the work of the ego. This mix of blind spots, defensive reasoning, and identity protection sets a trap. It sets the stage for a specific kind of intellectual tragedy, the hedgehog theory. In his research on expert forecasting, psychologist Philip Tetlock explored this concept. He drew upon the philosophical distinction Isaiah Berlin made between the hedgehog and the fox. The fox knows many things, but the hedgehog knows one big thing. In his study of political judgment, hedgehogs are described specifically. They are thinkers who interpret the world through the lens of one central theory. They have a dogma that explains everything. Foxes instead draw from a multitude of ideas, disciplines, and sources. Foxes remain comfortable with ambiguity, nuance, and contradiction. Tetlock found something clear when he tested their predictive powers. He discovered that foxes produced more accurate forecasts than hedgehogs. A hedgehog's strength is their coherence. They can explain every historical event, economic shift, and social conflict using the same framework. But their strength is also their flaw. If everything fits the theory, nothing can correct it. The hedgehog's mind takes the complexity of the world and compresses it into certainty. The hedgehog tries to force everything into one box. When the box does not fit, the hedgehog blames the world. They never blame the box. The hedgehog is not wrong because they hold a theory. They become wrong when the theory becomes their identity. When you have one theory, every piece of contradictory evidence is a puzzle to solve. It is an opportunity to prove how you can twist facts to fit your worldview. When you pull these threads together, a consistent pattern emerges. A pattern that reveals why smart people are good at being wrong. Intelligence, left unchecked by self-awareness, does not immunize you against error. It arms you with weapons to defend your mistakes. The danger is not intelligence itself. Intelligence is a tool. The danger is intelligence operating without intellectual humility. It is the state of a mind that has learned how to outsmart everyone. In the process, it has learned how to outsmart itself.